and welcome to video number 1 of my new Stirling engine build. This will be the Mk4 Stirling engine. I previously made 3 Stirling engines before this. So my aims for this project is to make an engine that works really well, is really easy to make, and also very cheap to make as well. Right, so the basic design, very basic design. Lessons learned from the last time was the hot side needs to be as far away from the cold side as possible. So to that effect, this is our fire right here. Pieces of wood burning away, and the heat exchanger will be here above the fire. Right here will be a piston, like so. Some kind of linkage coming off that. And the cold side, so the division will be here, and the cold side will continue this way, something like that. And another piston will be here. So this is in fact an inline engine. The problem with this engine configuration is to get the differential from hot to cold, it does end up extremely long. I'm going to hopefully condense that very slightly by placing the flywheel roughly here, and this will be connected to here via suitable cranks and levers to link it together. I know it's a very basic engine, it'll be a firebox or something like that, chimney. Firebox will be here, something like that. So this is basically what I'm trying to linkage is something like that. I'm leaving things very open with this engine. I'm just going to develop it as I go. Yeah, so that's that. So as far as the pistons go and the cylinders, they've always been a bit of a problem. On the last engine, it did suffer from overheating issues with the seal, and I was never happy with it. And also I needed to use lubricant on the lever, so that all got in the heat exchangers, and it wasn't really the best situation really. What I've been thinking of for the last 6 months or so is to try and have a go at using diaphragm like piston seal assemblies, or cylinder assemblies, what you want to call it. These are being used successfully on quite a few various Stirling engines on YouTube, so that's what I want to try and have a go at. I did experiment, so this is my first experiment. Very basic piece of MDF, sandwiching this piece of fabric, and basically this is a displacement device, and there's a hole in the back, so it sort of pumps. You can see that. So this is a bit of a rough example. That's that one. So then I made another one which is a bit posher, which is this one here. So I've made this out of nylon. I bought a piece of rubber for this. I think it was the Viton rubber, which is can tolerate temperatures up to 200 to 250 degrees, which I thought might be within the limits of our engine, like. But I've got lots of options on the table as far as fabric goes, because I use them in lots of places. So this pumps like that. Obviously this will be restrained by the linkages, so it pushes and pulls straight. But I was quite happy with this, to be fair. I felt that was quite a smooth kind of action, really. And it pumps out of this hole here. You can probably hear it. There we go. If you put your finger over it, you will be unable to push the piston in. So it obviously works. So that's what I hope to experiment with to see what happens. So the first thing I'm going to think about is the firebox. Now, as so happens, I do actually have this thing here. I was going to use it for the last Stirling engine as like a rocket type stove furnace for it, but things didn't quite work out, and I never really went back to it to investigate things any further with it. So I've got this thing. So I'll just show you around the thing. So the idea was that you put your wood in there, and so it's sort of a downdraft kind of design. You put the fuel in. And I've got this cover it. And that's used for starting. And the fire goes all the way through there. So it is a rocket stove. And then all the way up through here and out here. I originally had this 90-degree bend on it because it was meant to go into the heat exchanger on the Mk4 Stirling engine. In the last design, I actually did make this little box at the bottom as well. It doesn't really serve any function as such. I thought it might get hot enough to act as like a little oven or something like that. But it looks nice, but it doesn't really serve any purpose as such. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is actually get rid of this 90-degree bend. So I'm going to cut it here, cut it there, turn it around and butt it up so it goes straight up. So I can attach my chimney so it actually goes vertically through there. Once I've done that, I'm going to give it a test try to actually see how well the thing runs. I know it runs fairly well already, but I wouldn't mind looking down the flue pipe just to see what it looks like inside. I might also try and take some temperature measurements of what kind of temperatures I'm dealing with, because the question is, I don't know where I'm going to put my heat exchanger. I need to pass it through here somewhere, but I don't know where yet. I don't know where the best place is. If I have it too low, then the gases won't have time to combust before it goes through the heat exchanger. But if I have it too high, then a lot of the temperature is going to get lost in the body of the thing. There you go. I've adjusted the top bit there, so it's straight now. Right, so I've just been looking through my cupboard and I've found this. Now this is found this. This is a thermometer. It's a high temperature thermometer. It goes between -50 and plus 1300 Celsius. What I want to do is try an experiment to see how much temperature I'm getting at various points in the rocket stove. So you can see on the rocket stove, I've actually drawn the path for the firebox and the flue as it goes along and up like that. If you look closer, I've drilled holes there with measurements all the way from the bottom. So I've got this this probe here. So the idea is I can stick this probe in, and that pokes through into the flue like that. So I can measure the temperature at various points. The point being is I need to know at what point to put the heat exchanger, the hot heat exchanger. So I just need to try and get a bit of a feel for that, and yeah. It's a bit of a wet morning, but I really wanted to give the rocket stove a go, so I've got it outside. I'm just going to light it a minute. So for this, I've got a pile of sticks, 2 rags, and some paraffin to get it going. Okay, so it's all going quite well now. That's the firebox, bit of smoke coming out. So that's probably wood gas really being released. If I shut that a little bit, then the draft of the riser starts pulling the flame back through that way instead. It's a fairly clear flame. I think the probably the insulation on the rocket stove is a bit wet. To be fair, it's been outside for a year or so. It's fairly clear. Obviously, a bit of playing around with the setup and things would probably sort that out. So I'm just going to take a test reading now. So that's our probe inserted. If we look down there, we can see the probe measuring the temperature of the flue gases. So let's let that settle down a minute. I'm just getting hot on it. Okay, then so it's just peaked there pretty much. So 560 degrees. Oh, maybe a bit hotter. Alright, we'll call it 590 degrees. Okay, we've hit a slight stumbling block because if you see the probe in there, it's actually glowing red. Now the question mark is whether this probe is actually suitable for measuring these kind of temperatures. Right, so there's our temperature profiles of the different positions. I think it's fair to say this is an average temperature. I'm not sure how hot the actual temperature the temperature probe will actually go. So these measurements might be a bit dubious, but it certainly gives me an idea of where the heat is. Right, so that's all for this time. So now I've got a fair idea of what kind of heat's been given out. I can go away and think about the actual design of things and try and get some of the other elements of the engine together as well. Till next time, bye.